guys and girls, and welcome to another episode of Kook Shed, my own little YouTube channel where I share ideas, tips, information relating to bodyboarding and surfing, and I do some equipment and board reviews as well. So today I just want to do a quick one about following on from the flippers or the bodyboarding fins theme that I've been doing lately. I wanted to do one about flipper savers or fin tethers, flipper straps, whatever you want to call them. So this will help bodyboarders and body surfers, I guess, generally. So we've got a bodyboarding flipper, and they've usually got the heel removed. All the good ones do. They don't have a heel on them like some diving flippers. These have a strap, just a strap that goes around the ankle, and your heel is exposed. And so what people can use to save their flippers from coming off, because sometimes they do from time to time, especially in heavier surf, heavier conditions, or if your flippers don't fit as snugly as you might like. People use fin tethers to keep their fins from floating away if they get blasted off. So usually you can get these little Velcro. They're almost like little leashes for your flippers, and they're quite sturdy and Velcro, usually a Velcro design. So what you'll do, if you haven't done this before, what you'll do is you sort of loop the strap, the connecting strap, around the flipper strap, and then you thread the Velcro through, and it's usually best to put it on the outside of the foot, like on the outer. I usually put them on the outside of the foot. So this is the outside of the foot. This is the toe side. I usually put the strap on the outer side. Just keeps it out of the way, and it usually stops it from rubbing. Now these are fine. These are great. But I just find they're a bit bulky for everyday use. You get used to them, like anything, but for me I prefer not to, because they absorb water. They're just a little bit extra weight. It's another leash to put on. So yeah, I rarely use this. Definitely if you're going surfing in really heavy conditions, or you might be on a surf trip, like to Indo or somewhere, and you don't want to risk losing your flippers because you're a long way from getting another pair, or it might just inconvenience your whole trip if you lose a flipper. I would recommend, getting some solid Velcro flipper savers. That might just help you feel a bit more comfortable, confident out in the surf, because you don't want to be out in conditions that are quite heavy and lose a flipper, which they do get blasted off, and then you're paddling around with one flipper or even no flippers. You can lose two at the same time as well. So if you're going to be in conditions like that, well, then these might be a good option, the Velcro ones. So that is worth looking into, and they're not expensive. They're not that expensive. Sometimes you might even get the surf shop might throw them in when you get a pair of flippers. You might get lucky there, or you might just have a pair laying around. I've bought used old pairs of flippers before, and they've come with it. Like I might buy a bodyboard, and they throw in fins and flipper savers. It's an old bodyboarding setup they've had, and they're selling it to clear it out of the garage or whatever. And so I've usually got a pair of these hanging around that I didn't even buy. So they're handy. Keep them, and they could also be good for using on water cameras. Like you might have a water camera, underwater camera set up, shooting surfing or waves or whatever. These are handy to have to just put around your wrist, and you just loop that over some part of the water housing on the camera, and it just helps keep your camera safe and close to you. So that's another use. But one thing I did want to touch on today is the good old shoelace. So you might not have a pair of those Velcro savers handy. You might have forgotten them, you might not have any, whatever reason. So this is where the good old shoelaces come in to play. Now, I actually prefer shoelaces over the Velcro just because they're lighter. And I don't know, all my sort of heroes that I looked up to when I was growing up bodyboarding, they used shoelaces or similar sort of cord for their flipper savers. So I sort of adopted whatever worked for them, because they were the pros, and I thought, well, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. So yeah, I use shoelaces. Now I don't always use them. Like when I was younger and I couldn't really afford another pair of flippers if I lost them, I definitely used them all the time. These days I don't really use flipper savers that much unless the surf is really heavy, and then I might throw on a pair of shoelaces. But yeah, this just might help you keep your flippers close to you or from being blown off should that those sort of conditions occur. So basically, to get some shoelaces onto your flippers, you just sort of fold them in half, and same again, you just put them around the strap of the flipper on the outside, same again, and then I just thread them through that loop. You might want to do it 2 times, you might want to thread it through twice. I usually just do it once, but you might want to do it twice. That could work. And there you go. So now you've got, on the outside of your flipper there, you've got some shoelaces, or a shoelace. So you put your foot in the flipper, and then you just tie that around your ankle. I usually do it in a bow, like tying your shoelaces, and then I'll do the second loop as well. So it's like a double bow. And that usually stays on. I've never had them, come off while I'm using that method. So that's a nice, simple, cheap way to keep your flippers from coming off in the surf. And I'm sure a lot of people have used that method over the years. Now, one thing I want to get into about the shoelaces is the type of shoelaces that you use matter. So you've got the normal flat sort of shoelace, the typical flat shoelace. Now these are okay, but I don't know, I've just found they're not as good as round ones. As in, so the round ones are more like a cylindrical shape material, or nylon. I guess they're nylon blend. So these seem better for me, the round type of cord. The flat ones, I don't know, they can get tangled, they can get caught in a knot quicker for me. I just don't think they're as good. But I've used them plenty of times and they've done the job, so don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on these. But I just think if you've got a choice, or if you're looking for a pair of shoelaces to use as flipper savers, fin tethers, whatever you want to call them, I would say try and find the round, the cylindrical type of material. I hope I'm explaining that right. It's just sort of, it's the same as like buying some nylon paracord, that shape. The paracord shape's round. It's rounded, it's not flat, like it's not a flat ribbony type like these are. It's round. I don't know, it just seems better, seems to work better for me. For some reason I don't think it absorbs as much water too. I don't know whether it's because of the surface area, because sometimes when I've used these flat these flat ones, they seem to really soak in the water, and you can really feel them sort of on your feet, especially if you don't trim them down. And that's another thing I just want to mention quickly, is you probably want to trim your shoelaces down. So you probably won't need all that length to tie, to go from here and tie a little bow or double bow or whatever knot you use. You probably don't need that much length. So what I would recommend is tie the knot, put it on your foot, put the flipper on your foot, have it just how you would have it if you're going in the water, tie your bow, tie your double bow, and then see how much excess you've got. And then I would trim the lace down accordingly. Now I would trim only one end, that's just me, because you've already got this, you've usually got a piece on the end of these things that kind of keeps the end from fraying. But you can trim them both equally if you like from the ends. So what you're going to get then is you're going to get these exposed ends on the shoelace because you've just cut them, and that's where they will begin fraying and going all fluffy or whatever. So what you want to do then is seal it up. Now you might just get some wax, maybe you could put some wax all on it, I don't know, but I personally get a lighter and then I will just burn the end of that shoelace, and then I will like wet it quickly while it's still hot, and that sort of cold, it fuses that plastic because they've got a bit of nylon and stuff in them. It'll sort of keep that end from fraying a bit because you've cut the ends. That's why I said you might only just want to cut one of the ends of your shoelace, because the other one's already sort of like they've already done a thing to stop them fraying. So if you only cut one end, then you've only got to sort of seal up one end to stop it from coming apart in the surf. So that's what I do. I'll just light the cut end of the shoelace. Be careful, you're playing with fire. Be careful you don't burn yourself or your fingers. And then I'll just get a little bit of spit on my finger and just put it on the bit that was burnt, and that sort of seals it and sets it. So yeah, I'll light it, I'll actually wait till it gets on fire, catches on fire, then blow it out, and then I'll quickly, and then it just seems to set that shoelace from and set that cut so it doesn't fray. But like I said, you could use maybe some wax, some surfboard wax all around the end, maybe, or something to bond it, sort of just so it's not loose and fluffy and it's going to come undone. And that seems to work for me. So I'm actually interested in what you might use for flipper savers. What seems to work for you? If you've got a particular, like a knot, a special type of loop system or tying system that is, unbreakable, or is just much better than the double bow system or the knot that I use or others might use, just let us know in the comments. It's all about sharing information and helping people here. So yeah, let us know. So hopefully it's helped you figure out how you want to sort of secure your flippers. You might decide after watching this there's too much and you'd rather just risk losing the flipper. But yeah, if you're interested in getting flipper savers or using your flipper savers or using shoelaces, hopefully this has helped you in some way or was interesting, and if it was, hit like. If you've got some information you want to share or questions you want to ask regarding this topic, just leave a comment. And if you want to see more sort of ideas, tips and information and board reviews, equipment reviews, that sort of thing related to bodyboarding and surfing, hit subscribe and I'll see you here next time on Kook Shed. Thanks for dropping in. Catch ya.